Hey y'all, it's Dorothy from PrepInYourStep.com, and today I am back. I have a cup of coffee, I have my phone with all of the questions y'all asked on Instagram, and I'm going to do my monthly Q&A for y'all. So if you ever want to participate in this and ask questions, I always ask y'all to share those on my Instagram stories. So I feel like I have a bunch to go through. We're just going to jump into it. This is also a blog post, and I'll try to put any of the links that I mention throughout this video below for y'all in case you're interested. Question number one is best fall recipes. And honestly, I'm about to have to go to the grocery store and I have no idea what I'm going to make. It's finally getting a little bit cooler, so I think I'm going to do soup because it's also supposed to be rainy and I feel like that's just a good fall staple. Otherwise, I mean, soup is really my go-to in the fall. I love chili. If you want something super easy, I would say Trader Joe's has this canned chili, which I know probably sounds nasty, but it's so good. They have it, I think they have a beef one. I've never bought that, but I've gotten their turkey and the chicken chili. And they're really good, and it's like under $2 for a can, and that'll last me 2 meals. So that's kind of my like cheat of fall meals. Otherwise, to actually cook, I need to come up with some, and maybe I'll share them on my blog too. I get this question a lot, and I'm pretty sure it's the same girl. It's thoughts on finding more sustainable clothing brands. And I appreciate the question. The problem that I have with sharing those is that a lot of times more sustainable clothing brands are more expensive, and usually on the blog y'all prefer for me to share things that aren't quite as expensive. So it's a weird balance. Personally, I try to buy things that I know that I will wear for years to come. So it's not like I'm necessarily trying to purchase clothing that isn't sustainable, but I don't feel like I necessarily have the platform to consistently share the best places to buy sustainable clothes just because of the price point that some of them come at. I do donate clothes that I'm not using, so I do my part in the ways I can, but I don't necessarily share all of those things on the blog just because of the audience I have. So hopefully that answers your question, because I know that you've asked it more than once. The next one is ideal day off from work. What would you do? Ah, how nice. The thing that's tricky about this is that when I have like a weekend, I don't necessarily do all the things that I would do on an ideal day off because I feel guilty for not either hanging out with friends or getting stuff done. But a day off from work, I would sleep in. I would probably watch Gilmore Girls in my bed while like working on some blog stuff or just kind of piddling around on my computer for a while. I would probably be 2 cups of coffee in at that point too. And what else would I do? Probably go to a morning workout class just because that's a treat, and that's something I don't usually get to do on a regular work day because I get to work at 7. And maybe bake. I love to bake. Watch a movie at night, maybe hang out with friends, go for a long walk. Just activities that are not necessarily super exciting, but I don't always have time for on a daily basis. So I really like that question. It says, do you have any handbag or purse recommendations? I'm not a handbag person, but I feel like I find one that I like and I just use it nonstop. I have this great bucket bag that is from Gigi, New York, which was kind of a pricey purchase. I purchased it because it holds my DSLR camera, and I was going to Paris and London and I knew I would want to carry that around, and I needed something that was neutral that matched a lot of things, and I actually found a very similar one to that purse recently, so I'll link that below. I'll just label it as like gray bucket bag. So that's my go-to. It's not very expensive. Otherwise, I'm like all about a crossbody. I'm not a huge like hold it by the handle purse kind of person, or I like a tote bag. Next up is any advice for working at a magazine. So if y'all don't know, I feel like I got into the magazine world not by accident. It just makes a lot more sense now, like thinking of how everything is connected. So I went to Furman, I majored in elementary education, stayed and got my master's in early childhood education, taught 4th grade for a year, decided I did not want to re-sign my contract, and I moved to Birmingham with a long list of jobs or places I could apply for jobs or was interested in, and a position where I currently work came up, and I spent I probably shouldn't admit this, but the better part of my like capstone master's seminar creating an online portfolio and trying to tailor it to the different types of jobs I was applying for, because I didn't necessarily have experience in those realms other than my blog. So I also, for the job I have now, created a portfolio of different topics that are in the magazines that I work for. So I don't really have advice other than to just put in the work ahead of time and show that you truly are interested as a candidate, because I think that's why I ended up with the job I ended up with, is because I did my best to show how I'm capable of this, even if I haven't necessarily had the opportunity or the background in like an educational realm to perform the job. I don't know if that makes sense, but I really love what I do and I'm glad it all worked out. The next one is, how do you deal with FOMO? And I don't feel like I necessarily had FOMO in college. If you're not familiar, it's fear of missing out. And I don't necessarily think that I don't not have it now. That definitely wasn't proper English. I think that more than anything for me, I get bummed when, and I have a lot of friends that are still in school. My friends that are in school have to study, and I feel like I'm missing out on the experience of doing something else, even if I don't know other people that are doing those things. So it's really, I just like, when I want to be social, I feel like I'm missing out if my friends can't go and do that. It's a really weird way to answer that question. Otherwise, I feel like keeping yourself busy is a great way to distract yourself from feeling like you are missing out on an activity. Next says, favorite thing to do in the fall. I mean, I feel like I'm like everyone. I love fall so much. I like to bake, as I mentioned. I love to get outdoors, go for a walk, go for a run, get to actually enjoy the weather. Football in the fall is pretty great. Having people over and hang out outside on our deck. We have a fire pit out there, so that's gonna be fun to make it feel like fall. I feel like all of those sort of things make me excited for the season. Next one says, do you miss teaching? And I don't. I will miss my kids, but I do not miss teaching at all. And I don't know if it's something I would get back to. I need to look into making sure I keep my license up to date, but for the time being, it's not something I think I would go back to. And then also this girl asked, tips for a first-year teacher. Stop working on the weekends. I mean, I know that's hard and that takes a lot of time after school when you are just so mentally drained. I get it. But once I started to stop working on the weekends and realize that that was the best way I could pour energy back into what I was doing during the work week, I feel like it definitely made a difference. Next says, what planner are you using next year? And it is just out of reach, but I'm using the Day Designer. I'm going back to that. I had a Dapper Desk and I really liked it, but I guess I'm brand loyal to my Day Designer and I am going back to that. What type of music do you listen to while working out? I have a playlist and it's weird, I will tell you that, but it probably has just under 100 songs and it's called 5 to 9. And I'll link it below, but just don't judge me when you hear some of the songs that are on there, because that's what I listen to when I work out and I really like it. Next says, favorite bridesmaid gifts you have received or bachelorette activity recommendation. So my favorite bridesmaid gift I received was a pair of lake pajamas from my friend Sophia, whose wedding I was maid of honor in. Love pajamas, especially love lake pajamas, so that was such a thoughtful and kind gift. And then activity wise, I'll just link our Charleston bachelorette itinerary below because everything about that was so fun. Next says, how do you handle the pressures of social drinking and set healthy boundaries? I feel like that's a really good question because I do know that I have some viewers, readers, followers that are younger. Personally, I mean, I would go to parties and just not drink, but now I'm at the point where obviously I'm 21, I'm almost 25, which is terrifying, that I have no issue with drinking because I know that I'm capable of doing it in moderation and being smart about it. So I think that finding a buddy that is on your same page is definitely helpful because you'll feel more comfortable when other people are drinking if you have someone else that is in your same boat and may want to leave when you want to leave. So I think that that's important. Otherwise, setting healthy boundaries, I think knowing what you're capable of drinking during a period of time where you don't lose control or are then going to be making decisions that you'll regret is really important, and I feel like that's only something that you can figure out for yourself. Favorite drink from Starbucks in the fall. I usually just stick to iced coffee, but in the fall sometimes I will get, and this is like kind of a tongue twister to say, the cinnamon dulce latte. It's really good. What are you doing for Halloween, and do you have a costume idea? I am at a blank for my Halloween costume, and my friends and I are kind of stressed because I'm like, all right, it's 2 weeks away, we need to get on this. But we are going to a Halloween party that one of our guy friends is throwing. Right now the Facebook invite has like 96 guests invited, so I'm very interested to see how this goes. But if you have any costume suggestions for me, specifically like 2 people costume ideas, let me know, because I'm always last minute when it comes to Halloween costumes. Okay, I'm really sorry to cut this short, but this like 1% battery life is blinking at me right now on my camera, so that's all for right now. I will be back with other videos and vlogs soon, so I hope y'all will subscribe and follow along with my blog and Instagram. I will talk to y'all later.